Well, hello again. For players at every level of ability, it's good to be able to successfully make smooth transitions from one chord to another. That takes some work, of course, but there are some ways to make chord transitions easier, to lay the foundation for future success. So here's the two super easy chord progressions we've introduced already. F add 9, C7, that's one finger moving between adjacent strings. And we've also got G6 and Hawaiian D7. And that's two fingers moving between adjacent strings. A perfect opportunity to start specifically practicing smooth transitions, so you'll know what it sounds like and what it feels like to make smooth transitions when you're trying to tackle more difficult fingerings. So you can practice going back and forth between these for a while, paying attention to making the transition as smooth as possible. Your hand will get tired after a minute or two. Take a break, go do something else, and then come back and practice this transition again for a while. I always recommend doing things slower than you're inclined to. There's a few reasons for that. Your fretting finger is doing something very simple, and it's a bit tedious, but it's extremely important. It's building muscle memory. So your finger is going to remember, or the part of your brain that unconsciously controls your finger is going to remember how to do this later. Meanwhile, you can make these practice sessions more productive, more interesting, and more musical by taking the opportunity to pay attention to other things while your fretting finger is doing this sort of boring, tedious thing. Make sure that, for example, that you're keeping a steady beat, and you can practice this with or without a metronome. Also make sure, this is something I have to constantly remind myself about, a little bit of sitting up straight, not in a tense way, but a little bit of making sure the instrument is upright will actually make it easier to play and sound nice with less effort, without muting and buzzing and all sorts of things that happen when your fretting hand is kind of in the wrong position, and maybe even your plucking or strumming hand is in the wrong position when it's approaching the strings. In terms of the position of your fingers on your fretting hand, imagine that you're holding something, maybe an egg, in your hand. It doesn't take much strength to press down a string on a ukulele, but if you've got your hand in an awkward position, you can't really use the strength that you have effectively. Another thing that you can pay attention to is do different things with your other hand. So you could be picking, you could be strumming with your thumb, you could be strumming with your fingernail, playing high up on the fingerboard, or low down toward the bridge. And notice the difference in tones. Make sure that you give yourself a chance to rest. Don't tense up. So my wrist will have a tendency to tense up. My shoulder will have a tendency to tense up if I'm playing the same thing for too long, especially. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to how you're feeling. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. So, instrument upright, hand gently curved, fingers pressing down gently on the fingerboard. These are all things that you can do while you're doing this simple thing, building up muscle memory, so you remember how to transition between those two chords. You can do the same thing, of course, with the G6 chord with the two fingers. See you next time.